Kaws is arguably one of the most dynamic contemporary artists that we know. He contributes heavily to pop culture with his large-scale sculptures, his virtual reality sculptures, as well as his toys and his paintings. Not only is he doing work alone, he has many collaborations, notable ones like Nike, Vans, even Kanye West. It's only right that we take a solid look at his market analysis and figure out what his market could look like maybe in 2020, the rest of 2020 at least, or even in the far, far future. I think he has a very interesting market, and I think the people that analyze the art market just don't know where to place him. He's not only an artist, but he's become a brand, and that we should look at for sure. What's going on, y'all? It's Mariah Elise back again with Art Untold to, of course, talk all things art. You guys know that I am obsessed with all things art, so I'm here again to give you guys another market analysis. Today we're going to really dive into Kaws the artist. So first of all, if you've checked out my other videos, you already know that I've invested in a Kaws piece through the app Otis. So I definitely analyzed his market before I purchased a few shares of that piece, but I really want to give you guys that information because I'm seeing him pop up more and more. Not that he didn't pop up in the past, but I know that you guys are starting to get interested in investing in art. And if you're going to go for Kaws, I want you guys to understand what your risk might be like. Look, if you're into me, you're into what I'm talking about, go ahead and subscribe to my channel. It definitely helps out and it allows you to know when I post new videos. And also guys, if you want, engage with me, leave some comments. I'm here to answer any and all questions. If I don't know the answer, guarantee I might go find the answer. You guys might even give me ideas for my next video. So if you've watched my market analysis videos before, you already know my vibe. You know that I'm gonna look at their past, I want to look at the artist's narrative, and then I dive into their exhibition, and then we take a deep dive into their market value. So we're going to keep it really brief until we get into the market analysis. So Kaws grew up in Jersey City, of course very close to New York, where he not studied but really got into graffiti as a young boy. Of course he became a graffiti artist and later came up with the tagline. It's said that he had another tag before that, but he chose to stick with Kaws because he liked how the letters aligned with one another. He also liked how it sounded. After finishing high school, he ended up going to school to be an illustrator, and interestingly enough, he started to work on the series that we all know as Doug. In that time span, he also illegally started painting over billboards, painting very interesting slogans on these billboards, and that kind of contributed to his style. Now, it's said that the first time that he put the XXIs over a skull or over anything was on one of those billboards, and that kind of set the trajectory for his career. Typically, what most of us know Kaws for is his companion toy or the entire collection of toys in general. In meeting Hikara, who is the owner of Bounty Hunter, he began to be introduced to the idea of making toys. Now, Kaws always had the idea of making sculptures, but at this point he had never thought about making toys until he met Hikara. He made his first toy, I believe, in Tokyo, and he wanted the toy to be very noticeable to the eye. So he was inspired by animation, specifically Mickey Mouse, and he brought those aspects of Mickey Mouse, like the gloves and the head and the stature, and he brought those aspects into his toy, and there comes the companion. So I really want to fast forward a little bit and get into Kaws' exhibition breakdown. Now, Kaws has been in 120 exhibitions. I could definitely be missing out on some, but that's how many I was able to count. 56 of those have been in a gallery, 51 of those have been in a museum, and 16 of those have been in other venue spaces. That breaks down to 46% being in a gallery, 41% of his shows being in a museum, and the other 13% being in other venue spaces. Now, for my artists out there, I want you guys to really pay attention to how many exhibitions he's been in. That's really important when it comes to the value of your work and also just people being able to know who you are. He's an international artist. He has shows in East Asia. He has shows in Europe. He has shows in America. That's really important when we're considering, do you want to invest in an artist? Do you want to collect an artist if it's for a financial gain, or in the future, you want your children to have some type of financial gain out of this artist and out of your collections? One of the main components is knowing, did this artist obtain the ability to become an international artist? So it's really important to look at the artists and their exhibitions, where they've exhibited, what museums and what galleries they've exhibited at, and what their CV is looking like over the time span of their career. The next thing that I really want to take a look at is the total value of his sales over time. So I'm going to go all the way from 2011 to 2019 to understand what his market did. Did it fluctuate? Did it constantly go up? Did it take dips and then go all the way up? We really want to see what his market did in the past to be able to evaluate what it might do in the future. I want to take a look at this here. So as we can see here, in 2011, we barely see his market even bridging the gap of what we see between 0 and 120 million, right? So what we want to do here is take a look at what it's doing. You see how it went up and then down? Now it goes significantly up. That's very important. Now what we want to do here is look at it from 2011 to 2016 to see what his market did over time. Did it fluctuate? Did it take major dips? Did it take major gains? We want to look at that so we can look at the past and see what it's going to do or what it could possibly do in the future. All right, so let's look at this here. All right, and see, we see it going fluctuating, then it takes all the way up. That's amazing. But I want you guys to take a look at that in chart style and really look at 2011 through 2013. He was barely breaking almost nothing compared to what he's breaking in 2019. But 2018 to 2019 is when he took that significant gain. Now, almost more importantly than looking at those charts, I want you guys to really be able to look at the numbers. The numbers make more sense to me than the charts. Of course, the charts are able to show me, okay, he's taking some gradual increase there, but these numbers allow me to see it in a better view. So you can see in 2011, he was breaking 190,000. You fast forward a few years later, he's getting into the millions, but then he takes another dip in 2015. Let's skip all the way to 2018, where he's now at 33 million. That's insane. But what's even crazier is in 2019, he's breaking $107,408,072 in value sales in the auction market. That is totally insane. Now, I think that he's able to do this by selling above the estimate with a lower value, selling more lots. Now, here's what I mean by that. So if we take a look at his market, we'll see here that this is the change in total sales with the number of lots offered and sold. So he's offering 1,177 lots here. All right, so you see this is going all the way up. But if we scroll down and we look at the change in median art prices and estimates over time, it goes down. So that lets us know that he's valuing his work a little less and he's selling more. He's valuing his work a little less and he's selling more lots. Now, what I can really break that down to is him selling more sculptures. His sculptures are definitely selling at a higher rate than his paintings and his prints, and they're a lot less expensive. What's also really good to look at here is he selling above his estimate? So again, he's selling above his estimate, he's selling lower value, and he's selling more lots. Okay? Buyers are buying more of his work and they're spending less. That goes to show, and you guys are going to see a little bit later, that they're buying more sculptures, or we're buying more of his sculptures or his toys, and they're costing a little bit less, which is making up a ton of his market. Now, guys, it's really important to take a look at his top auction prices. What that allows us to do is be able to see his past and evaluate his future. Okay, so if you look at what was selling at the highest prices in between a certain span of years, then you'll see what the market likes. And once you begin to see what the market likes, you'll kind of get a feel for what they're going to like in the future. So I want you guys to really take a look at this next chart. Even if you have to pause it, look at the pieces that sold, the top 6 pieces that we're selling. If you have to Google them and go look at them, just begin to get familiar with them, okay? Now, to piggyback off of what I was saying, selling a lot of lots, and those lots mainly being sculptures. So he's selling 63%. 63% of his sales have been sculptures. 18% have been paintings. Now, those paintings are definitely making up a big bulk of his market. They're selling in the millions and high 100,000s, but his prints are about 16%. Now, this is really important to look at, okay? So if you look at 2019, you're seeing that the average price for his paintings were about 730,000 were the average prices for his paintings. But if you look over to the right-hand side, it might be the left for you guys, to his sculptures, the average price for his sculptures were $46,000, and that's average price, but you can definitely get his sculptures or his toys for the lower thousands. And if you take a look at his prints here, you'll see that the average price for his prints were about $29,000. When you look at his past and you take a deeper dive into his exhibition history, you're able to see all of the collaborations he has and how he's so heavily influences pop culture that one of his most significant shows was curated by Pharrell. You have to look at him not only as an artist, but you have to look at him as a brand. So if we look at the forecast, of course 2020 has been a very strange year to say. They forecasted Kaws to sell pretty much below this year, but the crazy thing is Kaws is, I believe, and I could be wrong, but it's somewhere in here, he's selling like 88% above what he sold in the first quarter last year. So we just have to wait and see what's going on. I'm definitely happy that I've invested in him, but he seems to always go above. He always seems to go above what they think he's gonna go. He's a dynamic artist. He continues to push the curve and he continues to defy the odds. So I think that he's amazing to invest in. I know that pop culture changes over time, but people like Andy Warhol has stood the test of time, and he focused heavily on pop culture. Here are some predictions here, guys. They predicted a ton of his pieces. They predicted one of his pieces to like not sell at all. 2 of those didn't sell, and 2 of those sold above market. So, you know, predictions they're a little, you never know what the predictions are going to do. You don't know if they're going to be right or if they're going to be wrong. You have to just look at everything. Like I was saying, I don't really think the people that analyze the art market really know how to analyze Kaws in particular. I don't think they understand his market. And I think they mistakenly underestimate him. But I say that to say, guys, they're thinking, they thought a majority of his work would sell under, and coincidentally, I believe, I could be wrong, but about 88% of his work has sold above estimate already in the first quarter of 2020. I'm not sure how the rest of 2020 is going to look because of the direction that the year is going, as far as everyone, you know, dealing with the sickness, and as well as the economy not doing too well. But I'm really curious. I think that he's worth the risk. I think that the risk, if you can afford his pieces or even a few shares of his pieces, it'll end up being highly returnable, if that's a word. Guys, like I've told y'all before, I invest on an app called Otis, and that's where I've been able to acquire shares of his pieces. I'll link that in the description below. It's Otis, that's OTIS. I don't get paid from them or anything. I'm just an advocate of them, and I invest in multiple things through the app. So guys, I want to thank y'all again for putting up with me for such a long video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Hope you didn't like click all through, but I can definitely use the support, and I want to give you guys this information. I think it's valid, and I think it's important information. So I hope that we can continue to have this relationship. Go ahead and click that subscribe button, guys, if you are really into this content. Click the little ding bell and leave a comment if you're into it. All right, guys, again, I'm Mariah Elise, talking to you guys about all things art. This is Art Untold, and I'm out of here. Bye.